Right, so this is an interesting video. This is a standalone video which I recorded in the address from the NFU president. And I thought, rather than stick it in with the whole video of the March day, I thought I'd have this standalone because he spoke really, really well. And I think he said exactly what many people think and many people know. And I wanted to do this standalone because I think if I did it in the video where we came on the march and walked around and met the MPs, it would get lost. And I think it was important just to hear this bit. Now, one thing I would say to you is I've got to apologise about maybe the wobbliness of the camera. I was in there, I wasn't on a tripod, I was also trying to take photographs, which wasn't easy. So some of it is kind of like a little bit, but you get the idea. And do you know what the best thing about this is? I'm probably giving people that couldn't make this conference and wanted to know what the NFU chap had to say, gives you a chance to see what he said. And I think you'll agree, he spoke really well. So here we are, this is the bit where I'm going into the briefing, which was ideally you had before the MPs, but I missed it at the start because our bus was late. So watch this. If you don't want to sit down and watch it, just turn the volume up. Carry on doing whatever you're doing, just listen to it in the background because it's not about the visuals, it's about the content of the voice. Okay, so here we go. Right, I've actually got into the lobbying event here and we are listening to the NFU chairman. There's a lot of good and worthy people in here and I just sort of capture a bit of the atmosphere. So, I don't really know how much I can film in here. I don't really want to be interruptive. It's not about me. It's just showing you what we're doing here, really. So, yeah, this is the briefing for the lobby event, which I was supposed to catch this morning at about 9 o'clock, but our bus was late, so I missed it. And there we go. So, hopefully, I'm not in the way here. We have got various people on the platform there. We just wait till they start.
Quiet, so I think we'll get things underway. First of all, can I say welcome to Church House. On behalf of all the farming union presidents, we've got Aled, William and Martin is having a meeting over in Portcullis House. Thank you for making the journey here. I know many of you have come from afar to join this fight against the unjust budget that has just been delivered. You don't need me to tell you that farmers and growers have put up with a lot, but it takes something extraordinary for us to react like this. And this betrayal on agricultural property relief and business property relief is extraordinary. And it affects farmers from every corner of the United Kingdom. I don't think I've ever seen the industry this angry, this disillusioned, this upset, this worried. And given that we've had a lot to be angry about in recent years, that's saying something. Together, our focus today with MPs is on APR and BPR. This shocking policy, built on bad data and launched with no consultation, is simply unacceptable. The Treasury didn't even tell DEFRA. To launch a policy this destructive without speaking to anyone involved in farming beggars belief. And let us remember, they promised. Steve Reed, Shadow Secretary of State at the time a year ago, said they would not change agricultural property relief. 2 weeks later, he reconfirmed that position. At no point have they ever been honest about what they were going to do in this budget. It's not only that, it's also being bungled in its delivery. It's nothing short of a stab in the back. But we, in this room, know that APR and BPR is the straw which broke the camel's back. After years of changing policy, 18 months of horrendous weather, the budget has been a kick in the teeth. It's full of letdowns for our vital sector. Accelerated BPS decline, double cab pickups, new taxes on fertiliser, the list goes on. The massive inflationary pressure for the whole supply chain, but particularly for our fresh produce sector. This has been an inflationary budget for food production, and you in this room have nothing left to give. It has to go up the supply chain. There has never been a budget this bad for farming in my lifetime. But rest assured, the NFU, the other farming unions, are fighting for all these policies. But today, we focus on APR and BPR with our MPs. We know what this means for families, for our children, for our future. We know the horrendous pressure that this is putting on older farmers, those in the twilight of their career, that have given everything to feed this country, have been left in an insidious position. It is simply not fair. We know that any tax raised from this policy will be taken from our children and from those that die in tragic circumstances or those that don't live the next 7 years. It's wrong on every level. It's just as bad. It won't achieve any of the outcomes that the Treasury say they want to achieve. The pony paddocks, the small houses with a few acres, it protects them. It doesn't protect the working family farm. 75% of commercial farms will be caught in the eye of this storm. That is simply not acceptable. It's the farms producing this country's food which are the most valuable assets and which have been caught by this erroneous policy. The irony is that we may have balance sheets, we may have assets, we don't have liquid cash. And the only way we'll ever pay this inheritance tax bill is to sell off parts of the farm, breaking up our farming businesses, which have often been in the farms for generations, and kicking the legs out from underneath Britain's food security. The sight of ministers thrashing about, trying to justify this unjustifiable policy is unedifying. First, they said the policy would protect the majority of farms. When they couldn't hold that line, they changed it to saying they were protecting small family farms. And when that fell apart only last night, they've switched to suggesting that this mess of a policy will only be paid by the most valuable farms. Those exact farms that are producing this country's food. This is sorry stuff. It's also what happens when you launch a policy without consulting anyone who knows anything about it. Farmers and the public deserve better. But we know we're not alone. Over 200,000 members of the public have supported our petition since we launched it on the Friday after the budget. That support means a huge amount to every one of us as we continue to fight this tax. Your key job today has been to look your MPs in the eye and make them understand what this means for you, what this means for them, the price that will be paid if they don't stand up against this awful policy and the government. They will lose their seats. In Westminster, in Cardiff, in Edinburgh, in Belfast, everyone will fight this tax until we get it sorted. Our request is simple. This is a policy that will rip the heart out of Britain's family farms. It's launched on bad data with no consultation, and it must be halted and considered properly, taking in the views of industry experts, not just the Treasury. They say that they want to stop those who've made wealth from outside the industry using land as a tax loophole. If that's the ambition, let's find the answer. But when I sat down with the Treasury Minister, I looked him in the eyes and I said, James Murray, what is it you want to deliver? He didn't have an answer. They haven't got an exam question. What they've done instead, with the changes they've made to pensions, is create an opportunity for people to take the money out of their pensions, invest in £1 million worth of land, and have it tax-free. They've created another loophole rather than closing the one that they say they were trying to close. Now, a huge amount has gone on behind closed doors. We've had regular meetings with Steve Reed, the last of which was last night. And all of you want to know how that meeting went. I can sum it up in a few words. Firm, passionate, listening, no action. We've got to get to action. We've met with James Murray a couple of times, Daniel Zeichner, the Food Security Minister, but the Chancellor has refused to meet.
Sorry. That's all right. That's okay.
The Chancellor has my number.
I was thinking something similar.
I'm available to go into Downing Street now. We'll sit down around the table. We can sort this mess out. But she has to be willing to listen. She has to be willing to accept they've got it wrong. Now I know that's a big ask of a government, but I don't believe that any well-considered policy had the human impact, the unintended consequences that sit right at the heart of this policy. And I'm sorry, but that is not acceptable. It may be that ministers are thinking that today is it, but I can guarantee to you in this room and to anybody listening in from the outside that this is just the start. We will not get tired. We will not give up. We will fight for our future. We will fight for your future, and we will fight for our children's future. I also just want to finish this final address today by saying thank you so much for the support that the membership have shown us over the past 3 weeks. It has been quite incredible, and it's meant a huge amount to all of your office holders to know that you've been with us during this fight. I also need to thank the NFU. It's been an absolutely monumental effort. Less than 3 weeks since the budget, to have 1,800 of you meeting with your MPs is an incredible achievement, one that I'm incredibly proud to have been leading from the front. But so many people behind the scenes have gone above and beyond on your behalf. So thank you very much. And finally, I wish you all a safe journey home after your MP meetings. We'll keep in touch. The door's open, don't be strangers. We're here to support you and to help in any way we can. Thank you.
Fellow farmers and friends, I hadn't intended on saying a few words, but I thought I have to say so. Martin Kennedy, unfortunately, is unable to be here, President of NFU Scotland, but William Irvine, President of the Ulster Farmers Union, and myself, President of NFU Cymru, stand resolute together. And can I say, Tom, the personal toil that Tom has undertaken on behalf of us all is something that we all applaud. I know full well it's not nice laying awake during the night, worrying for farmers like ourselves throughout the country, worrying about the next generation as well. Now you can't see them from where you are sat, but I read the words, to them that endured in the heat of the conflict. It is quite a poignant remembrance of those who gave their lives to protect this country. During COVID, of course, we were applauding those who were caring for us and keeping us healthy, but we should also applaud the farmers throughout the generations who have fed this country. Never underestimate. They have gone through the heat of conflict to make sure that this country is fed. And the principle of taxing the assets which feed us is absolutely wrong. The principle of taxing the future generations from having an income, a livelihood from the land is wrong. So we stand resolute to reject completely the proposals that they have within the budget. So stand resolute. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For those who don't know me, I'm James Clark, I'm the Comms Director at the NFU, and to me falls the final bit of this, which is the boring but important logistical stuff, so I should be fairly brief. If your MP meeting is here in Church House, you're either going to be in the Bishop Partridge Room, or you're going to be in the hall, the Hall Memorial Hall. And our staff at the back of the room here can tell you where those are and point you in the right direction. If your meeting is in the Palace of Westminster in the House of Commons, you'll go down out of the door, and again our staff along the route will show you where to go and how to get there. And finally, if your MP has asked you to meet them somewhere else, it might be number 1 Parliament Street, it might be Portcullis House or elsewhere, please follow those instructions rather than joining the queue into the Commons, as you may find yourself in the wrong area. The other thing I've been asked to remind you of is if you're going into the parliamentary estate, do please remember your photo ID. For obvious reasons, they take that quite seriously and they really won't let you in without it. And the police have said to me, can I remind everybody to check their pockets? But let's be honest, if there's any group of people in London today likely to have the wrong things in their pockets. So we've all been there, right? The final point I'd like to make is if you have asked for a meeting with your MP, but you haven't got one, they either haven't replied or they've just sent you a stock answer, we'd encourage you this afternoon to exercise your right, everybody's right in fact, to go across to the Commons with those having meetings there, and when you get into Central Lobby, you can ask for what's called a green slip, and that will be sent up to the MP in question, to their office, and they will be told that one of their constituents is here and would like to meet them. Now, I hope that will cause them to do so. If it doesn't, awful then, please let us know. We will deal with that later. Gentlemen, that's all I've got to say to you. I'm conscious of time. The good news is I believe it's stopped raining, so you should have a slightly drier walk over there than your colleagues did earlier this morning. So good luck, give them hell, and let's get this thing done.
So there we go. Some great words there from
on the stage to hold our big
President of the NFU.
for a photograph, please.